Hey everyone, welcome to the first edition of Engines of Welcome to the first installment of Engines of CNJ. Today, we'll be discussing the B-class types. Without any further delays, let's start the series off in the yards. Alright, picture this. You're a railroad worker on the CNJ in the early 1900s. You're using clapped out locomotives fresh from the late 1800s. We're going to need something more capable, both yard duties and local assignments. Thankfully, in 1902, the CNJ ordered 51 new 060Cs from the Brook Locomotive Company, later becoming Alco. The C in 060C stands for Camelback. A Camelback is a type of locomotive that instead of containing the cab at the end of the locomotive where the firebox is located, the cab is moved forwards towards the middle of the boiler for the engineer, while the fireman stays outdoors firing the locomotive. These type of locomotives were built so they could have bigger fireboxes, specifically a Wooten firebox, a type of firebox the CNJ and a couple of eastern railroads used due to the anthracite coal they burned. The name was given as the cab in the middle resembles a camel's back. The Camelbacks, while working well, didn't give crews a reason to like them. In the case of an accident, the engineer would get crushed or get stuck if the locomotive came on its side. And the fireman, well, he wouldn't have any shelter to keep him out from the cold winter nights, which is why it was never really caught on by other railroads, mainly just the eastern ones. Back on topic, the locomotives were built between 1902 and 05. Not all 51 were built by Brook, however. Some were locally built by the Grant Locomotive Works in Patterson. The locomotives were numbered 50 through 100. Time for the specs. The locomotives had 51-inch drivers producing 23,328 pounds of tractive effort. The engine and tender had a combined weight of 222,400 pounds and a combined length of 58.5 feet long, 14.8 feet tall, and a width of 8.4 feet, and a blistering top speed of 30 miles an hour. Supposedly, there are no official sources of their max speed, but given their assignments, most likely they were hitting around 15 to 20 miles an hour. Now you see, here's where it gets confusing. The B2s are in fact not the first of the class. The B3s were first in 1901, with all 8 being built by Brook, numbered 1 through 8, shockingly. Specs-wise, they were 14,500 pounds heavier and 4 feet shorter in length, and a tractive effort of only 31,200 pounds. These B3s also had skinnier boilers. Then came the B3As between 1902 and 05, just like the B2s. Then the B3Bs in 1910, being literally the same thing, but with 50-inch drivers and being 7,400 pounds heavier. However, these 10 B3Bs were built directly from the CNJ at the Elizabethport shops, or if you're a real one, the E-Port shops in Elizabethport, New Jersey. And then came the B4s in 1912 and 1915, being built by the E-Port shops as well. These engines being 600 pounds heavier than the B3B. They're also just slightly stronger, and if you kept count, you would know now that the CNJ had exactly 100 060Cs running around everywhere along the CNJ system, from Communipaw to Scranton. These things were in every yard. In 1918, the CNJ, while pleased with their B2s to B4s, wanted something more suited for local branch or other small jobs. Something with more oomph, as the kids say. So, they turned to Baldwin for an order of 6 B5s, only this time they were not Camelbacks. Instead, they were normal locomotives taken from USRA designs. And then 10 more were ordered, classified as B6Ss, from Coke or Cocaine that same year. These 16 were slightly stronger than their Camelback predecessors, but still got the job done. And then came the 5 B7s in 1923, all of them built by Alco in Schenectady, New York. These were CNJ-ified USRA designs, keeping a Wootton firebox and fatter boilers. These were numbered 111 through 115. These were the strongest O60s on the fleet, having 45,847 tractive effort. Their Camelback cousins worked mainly on yard duties, building trains, or the occasional work train. The normal variants, on the other hand, while working yard jobs, did mostly outside work, hauling light freights across the system. In 1945, the CNJ decided to reclassify all of their locomotives. The B class became the 6S class, 6S standing for O60 switcher, and the last two digits are how much tractive effort they had. Starting in 1930, however, the CNJ started to retire their O60Cs from their roster. They went from 100 of them in 1925 to only 45 in 1940. By 1950, only 38 remained, seeing very little use thanks to the EMD SW series of diesel locomotive taking over their assignments since the 1940s. The B5s through 7s were all working 5 by 1950, but their retirement started exactly in 1950 with the B5s. Then the B7s in 53, and finally the B6s were all retired by 54. Last one being retired in 1955. All Camelback O60s were gone by 54. None were preserved, except one. In 1953, CNJ 113 was bought by the Philadelphia and Reading Coal and Iron Company for use at a colliery in Locust Summit outside of Ashland, Pennsylvania. In 1960, 113 was retired by the company. The locomotive was stored outdoors in Locust Summit for 20 years. Thankfully, she was donated to the historic Red Clay Valley Incorporated in 1980 and was moved to Wilmington, Delaware. Then the locomotive was bought in 1986 by Robert E. Kemmel Sr. and was moved to Minersville, Pennsylvania in February of 91. In 1999, restoration to operational condition could commence. A little over a decade of restoring the engine, and $600,000 later, the locomotive steamed under her own power for the first time since 1960 on November 23, 2012. The locomotive has ran since on the Reading and Northern, and sometimes ran doubleheaders with their Pacific Reading and Northern 425. As of the making of this video, the locomotive is currently down for 1472 inspection. The B-Class certainly played an important role throughout their time on the CNJ. While yard work and local jobs may not be all that glamorous as life on the main line, they served a vital role, marshalling trains in yards for important trains to go out and keep this economy rolling, or delivering small shipments to their final destinations. These little engines shouldn't be overlooked. They definitely left their mark in the history book of the CNJ, the Big Little Railroad. And with that, we've ended our first episode of the series. Thank you everyone so much for watching this video. Make sure to tune in next time where we will cover the E-Class. Thanks again for watching, and stay safe out there on the high iron.